I tried to get somebody to be here new, but didn't make it.
That's all right. Well, welcome everybody to the Mailbox Power Mastermind Builders Call that happens Tuesday evenings at 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m. Eastern. For those of you in different time zones, I don't think anybody's in Central that gets on so far, but we look forward to these calls every single week because we learn from all of you. This isn't just about us sharing, it's about you sharing, because you all have a wealth of knowledge from your backgrounds that we want to learn from and have you share with everybody else. So welcome, and we look forward to hearing from all of you tonight, your wisdom. So the last 2 or 3 weeks, we have been talking about preparing for 2023. Do you realize we are just days away from the new year? I don't know where 2022 went to, but it's poof, just about gone. Yeah. So what are you doing to prepare for 2023? We talked about, if you haven't been on the calls, go back and watch the replays, but we talked about figuring out where you are this year in your business, numbers wise, whether that be your commissions and number of affiliates, number of executives, number of pros, writing those numbers down and determining where you are today. If you were in last year, looking at where you were at the end of 2021, where you are now, and where you want to be at the end of 2023. Because we have learned, we've done it, that it's up here. We know where we want to get, but if we don't put it on paper, you've heard of vision boards and that, but if you don't have it on paper and in front of you every day and you're not tracking your numbers, you're just hoping and wishing for it to happen instead of making it happen. So I know I did say I would look for that tracking sheet that that Vanessa did. I did look around. Mike found one, but it was just tracking referrals or tracking conversations, prospects. I haven't found the other sheet yet, but I promise when I find it, it's in our stuff somewhere. If not, I will create one. So did anybody have a chance? I know there were a few people that were going to do it in between Christmas and New Year's. So has anybody had a chance to look at those numbers and is willing to share where they are and where they want to get to, even if it's not the actual numbers, like doubling your business or 25% more next year, whatever it might be?
Well, I don't have the tracking sheet because I was looking for a sheet and trying to figure that out as well. But bigger for me was conceptually or truly identifying target market. Who is it that I want to go after? I am not at all happy with in terms of the numbers of what I've got. I mean, I've literally got 3 executive accounts and I think maybe 6 pro accounts, right? And I'm like, okay, I don't want to just double or triple. I want to significantly and change that number.
Awesome.
And so it is. So for me, part of the focus is, one, yes, get those numbers written down before the end of the year so that I know exactly where they are. And then working backwards from where I want to be to figure out, what is it going to take for me to hit these numbers? And I'll share this with you guys. It's ridiculously aggressive, but okay. I would like to close 1 deal per day in a 5-day work week. One deal per day, right?
Awesome.
And I don't care if it's a pro account or an executive account. Obviously, I do care. I'd like for it to be an executive account. That's what I'm going after, is executive accounts, right?
Right.
But if it ends up being a pro account, that's fine. But executive is what I'm going after. In fact, that's literally all I present to people is executive, and then I'll fall back to pro if I have to. But but the thing for me is I want to connect with people who are in professional sales and people who need to get in front of their ideal customer and to use the Mailbox Power platform as the lumpy mail. That's kind of how I've rebranded myself, as the lumpy mail guy. And so use the Mailbox Power platform for some of these people who are in professional sales that want to look for new and different ways to get in front of their ideal customer. So conceptually, that's where I'm going. I'm doing a bunch of research around it. I'm writing. I literally am looking at my table because I've got my papers spread out on the table of all the notes and who's my target market. Where am I going to go research and find these people? And then how am I going to connect with them? And I'll use the various online tools as well as the Mailbox Power platform to connect with these people. And I'm super excited to learn more about what's actually coming from Mailbox Power with regard to this whole CRM system and all that. I'm anxious to learn more about what's actually going to happen with all of that. But just in terms of numbers and goals for the new year, that's where I am.
Awesome. So I want to dissect a few things that you said, Stan, that are awesome, are amazing. Is one, you've already figured out where you want to be, what your ultimate goal is, and that's 20 accounts a month. So that's easy to track, because you know that if you hit the 5th day, the Friday of the first week, and you've got no accounts, you know you've got to do some catching up. And if you have 10, here's what I want to recommend. If you have 10, most people then take their pedal off the gas and say, oh, I can slack for a while because I'm ahead of my goal.
Right.
Instead of doing that, keep the pedal to the metal, because you never know when life is going to throw you curveballs, and when that will set you back, but now you're ahead. And wouldn't it be awesome if, gee, you set out for 20 and you end up with 30 or 40 in a month?
Right.
Would that hurt your feelings, Stan?
No, not at all.
I didn't think so. And I love that you're shooting much higher. I love that you're looking at where you are and saying, you know what, I'm not satisfied with this. And you said you laid out pieces of paper to find out your ideal client, and you're already trying to figure out where those are. So finding those associations, those connections, Mark Herdering called it the golden goose. And that's, I don't know if any of you have read Mark Herdering's book called Hanging Out for a Living. And it's about finding the golden goose. And the golden goose, like in real estate, would be a real estate association, because all of their members are real estate agents. So that's what you're looking for, is where is the organization? Where is the organization that already serves those clients, and build a relationship with them and go into their meetings. So awesome. Thank you for sharing.
I think the other thing too that you said, Stan, which I really like, is your mindset shift in regard to going after the executive accounts. I think that's where we should all be, going after executive accounts and settling for pro. But I think that's definitely a plus, because obviously there's more money to be made in those executive accounts. And honestly, I think there's actually more value in those executive accounts than there is in the pro accounts. And I don't think there's a lot of difference in the value that separates the two. So I know Brenda addresses that in a lot of videos. So if you're able to watch any of those videos she's done, it really does make a lot of sense for most businesses to sign up as executive accounts.
I just think that with the executive accounts, there's so much more that these businesses can do for their business because they've got more at their disposal, right? And then with when you start looking at some of these professional salespeople, some of the new stuff, I say new stuff, maybe it's just new to me, but I see where they can connect with a what is the company called? Those companies that offer all those Chotsky products and whatnot, promotional items,
Promotional
right?
products.
For those promotional products. And then if there's very specific things that they want to use in their business and their company, that now Mailbox Power will then warehouse those for them so they can have very specific campaigns really targeted directly to their business. That, to me, that opens up some huge opportunities there, right? I just got to figure out how to sell it. I got to figure out how to connect with those people and how to sell it, right? To really help them see the value. But the automations that's built into Mailbox Power are incredible. I'm basically an automations guy. That's the stuff that's really where my background is connecting different systems to each other. And I look at that's one of the things I got super excited about with Mailbox Power is I went, holy moly, this has so much potential. So I think there's a lot of potential there. Just got to figure out how to tap into it.
Exactly. And the other thing, Stan, you talked about having Mailbox Power house the promotional products, but you do know that they can source those promotional products through Mailbox Power also, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean, is that's the new stuff. When I say new stuff, I stumbled onto that one day and I went, oh my gosh, this opens the door to so much other stuff, right? That they can source it through there. Mailbox Power can house it for them and then use the automation to distribute it to where they need for it to go. That's awesome. Have any of you guys seen the book? Where'd it go? My book is not in front of me. It's over on the table. Hang on. The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. Have you seen that?
Yes.
I don't think we have. Have you seen that, Mike?
What's the name of it again, Stan?
The
The Ultimate Sales Machine. No, I've never seen it.
This
Break
is
that
the
one
new
down.
version of it. He wrote the original one back in 2007, but this guy is really the guy that is responsible for that lumpy mail concept. This is really where it came from. And he's the one that made it big. But this book is extremely popular, and he literally lays out the process in here for the Dream 100 concept and the lumpy mail process for what he does in this book. So this is kind of my Bible of what I'm working through, and the processes that I'm kind of putting together for working with some of these companies and whatnot.
Awesome. And I the other reason why I love going for the executive is you are talking to a higher caliber of client. What I have found is if you seek out referrals for or connections to people that are advertising in magazines and the newspaper and doing Facebook ads and Google ads, the majority, I started looking into that, and the majority of people that have hired a marketing agency to do Google ads or Facebook ads are spending $1,000 or more a month. When you start talking to them about a $200 platform where they can send 200 cards in unlimited medium postcards and just pay for the stamps, they're excited because they understand the value of it. Whereas if you talk to the solopreneur and the network marketing, it's not that it's not good for them. And as long as you're talking to the right person in those organizations that has a decent sized organization, they're going to see the value in the executive account also. But the newbies, that's just, there's going to be a lot of people that like to serve those people. I think like the Eileen Meckleys, and I think even Erica likes serving those type of people, Tiffany Sosa's, I think. But that's just not where I want my focus to be. My focus is going to be more like Stan's, and there's room at the table for everyone because everybody in business needs the Mailbox Power tool. I truly believe that. And the other thing Mike talked about is your mindset. When we shifted our mindset, and that was in 2015, I think that's when we went to an event in Salt Lake, and we had always thought of our product as being expensive because we were the solopreneur. We'd never had a traditional business and spent lots of marketing dollars. And at that event, we heard from Fortune 500 type companies or large real estate brokerages and that, and what they were spending on marketing. And I'm like, oh my God, ours is pennies on the dollar compared to other systems out there. And once you get that mindset shift and understand that we are extremely affordable and we are going to save businesses money or get them a better return with less investment, I can promise you, at least for us, it was a huge shift and a huge shift in our business. And that's what really started trajectory for us to be to where we are today.
I think.
Can I add one more?
Yeah.
Oops, sorry about that. Let me add one more thing to the whole mindset thing is that is going for the annual sale, not just the monthly sale as well. Because if you go for the annual sale and they sign up for the annual, now you've gotten them to commit for a year at least with that. And you avoid this whole thing of this mindset of, well, let me just try it and see if it works, because that's kind of the kiss of death. In fact, I've turned people away and said, look, if you just want to try it for a month or two, bad idea. You should just save your money because you're probably not going to get a good result. It's going to make a bad impression on you. So if you're ready to actually commit to making a change and doing some different marketing for your business, then we should talk about it. But otherwise, no, I'm not interested.
Yep.
And that's what we've told a lot of the people that we've talked to, Stan, is really, if you really want to see some results, you've got to commit to this for a bare minimum of 6 months. If you're not out in front of somebody for a number of months, you're not really going to see any results. It's like BNI. I mean, they meet weekly, so that they're in front of the business every single week. And monthly isn't even enough, I don't think, but it takes at least a minimum of a 6-month commitment and being committed to using the system to be seen and heard for that 6-month period.
Yeah. And BNI tells you, Andrea knows this, BNI tells you that the majority of new members do not see a return on investment for a minimum of 6 months because it takes time for people to get familiar with your brand, get familiar with what you do to start recommending you. And it's the same with anything when you go into a cold market. Now, obviously, there's going to be people. I joined BNI. If you're not a part of BNI, I recommend BNI. I balked it for years. Ask Mike. I was like, no, that's expensive. I'm not spending that kind of money. I can do it for free or low cost. Why would I spend that much? And then, and then I had several people kick me in the butt and said, when are you joining BNI? I'm like, but when are you joining BNI? I'm like, all right, I'll go check it out. And literally in less than 2 months, I had made back all my money and more. I have never done less than 10 times my investment in BNI. And if somebody gives me $100 and I can turn it into 1,000, or I give somebody 100 and they turn it into 1,000, done. I'm going to keep doing it.
Make that investment every day, right?
Yep. Exactly. Now, do some people get a much bigger return? Yeah, because they have a bigger product that they sell. But 10 times the investment, and that's been the least I've ever made, yeah, I'll keep doing it.
The other thing too, that I think we need to be able to do is get businesses to understand that this really isn't an expense. It's an investment in their business. It's an investment in advertising, be able to make money. If you want to make money in business, you have to spend money. And it is an investment in the business. It's not, shouldn't be seen as an expense.
Yep. And the ultimate goal, and we talked about this, I think it was last week or the week before, the ultimate goal is that they are making way more money with Mailbox Power than they're ever spending on the system. The goal is that it is an income producing strategy for their business. Not that they got to worry about that bill every month. They're glad to pay the bill because it's producing 10, 20, 30 times what they're spending. And that's what your goal should be as an affiliate. And I think even us, when we first started, we failed, and we still at times fail if we can't get in front of the new client often enough to get them trained or get them committed to paying for the concierge service and getting it set up. Is if you don't take the time to get your customer launched properly and up and running, whether that's be you do it or get them to training or get them to the done for you service. And anybody who's an executive member, especially if they pay for the whole year, the concierge service is, again, pennies. They gladly pay somebody to set it all up for them if they're willing to invest a whole year of executive generally. So that's why you're looking for those clients that are more the executive, because they're not going to be like, oh, well, let me see if I can do it on my own. And 3 or 4 months later, when they haven't used the service, now they're thinking about quitting because they haven't used it and they're just spending money on another tool they're not using. If you get them set up right away within a week of them getting started, and you've got an automation set up that something is going out every month using those 50 or 200 credits of the cards, you are in win mode, because when people start receiving those, they're going to start getting text messages and phone calls. And that's when they realize the power of the system.
Yep. A lot of power in getting them started right away.
Yep. Nanette, I know she private messaged me and said she had found Vanessa's tracking sheet with the numbers, tracking. The numbers are tracking prospects, Nanette. You're muted.
Sorry, I'm on my cell phone, which is awkward.
That's all right.
Yes, so that tracks prospects.
Yeah, we found that one. We're looking for the one that tracks the numbers.
Don't have it.
Yep.
I know I've got it.
I know we've got it. I've got it somewhere. And
So
this past week being Christmas, I just didn't get a chance to dig or recreate.
So I sent you on your email, sorry, everybody, Vanessa's sheet, then how I modified it to make it work for me.
Okay.
So that may give you some ideas.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Anybody else want to share? Gloria.
I don't want to share, but I tell you, between you and Stan, you guys got me fired up.
Good.
I'm working remote, 4 days a week. And I tell you, I want to love my boss, love my job, but I want to fire her next year.
Good for you.
That's my goal.
So I want you to put it on the calendar. So I want you to actually put a date on the calendar of when you're going to fire your boss. Because if you put it on your calendar, what happens when you put a trip on your calendar and say, I'm going to the Bahamas or Alaska or that? What do?
You do it.
You start making it happen. Yeah, you make the preparations, you go find the tickets, you start researching. So I want you to put it on your calendar. And when you decide on the date, I would like you to be bold enough to share it with everybody here so that we can help you to meet that goal and fire your boss when you want to fire your boss or earlier.
Sounds good. And can I just ask Stan a question?
Sure.
I'm one of these people who doesn't have a business, traditional business, but from what I'm hearing, I don't have to, and I know that. But Stan, when you approach someone, and Brenda and Mike, this is for anybody really. Are you cold calling people? Are you going, to businesses, or what is the initial approach to someone that you're, I guess I'm going to say, prospecting?
Well, at this point, it's been kind of all over the place with a number of different things. And so I might meet people through, I have an alignable account. I have an outreach program of reaching out to people mainly through LinkedIn. And then I do a lot of networking events. But I started with warm list. I have a database of probably it's a little over 1,000 people that's in the database. And what I did was I went through my database and I said, of these people that are in here, which ones are the ones that Mailbox Power seems to make the most sense for, right? Because you can make the argument that sure, any business can use Mailbox Power, but unless I've got a clear story that I can tell, that I can share with them that makes sense for them as to how can this help them, then it's kind of falling on deaf ears, right? You have to solve a problem for them to want to listen to you in the first place. So if I've got a group of people, I have probably about 130 that's on my list of people that I can potentially solve a problem for them. And so those are people then that I just start to reach out to those people one by one. What I'm finding as I'm reaching out to these people, that the problem I think I can solve for them is not a problem that they want to solve. So I have to do a much better job of uncovering what they perceive as their problem and then coming up with a solution for them that maybe Mailbox Power can resolve for them, right? And so me reaching out to them could be through those avenues I just talked about, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's alignable, whether it is a email that I send out. I do YouTube videos. And so for 2023, that's part of my goal and my objective is more YouTube videos. I want to do more, get more visibility. So I'm putting together some things that will give me much more visibility, because a YouTube video works 24 hours a day and it will do that presentation for me 24 hours a day. Whereas I've only got so much limited time that I can actually sit in front of a person and talk to them. And some people won't sit and talk with you because they're afraid of being sold, but they might go watch that video. And if that video prompts them and primes them to give them kind of the core, the basic information, now they feel better about saying, hey, tell me more about this. I watched your video. I have another service that I offer, and I look back at the last 12 sales, and 6 of those 12 came from YouTube. And I said, I got to do more YouTube videos. I have to step my game up and do more with this. So that's one of my avenues for reaching out to more people, is going to be through email or social media, but also driving them to a video so that they get kind of the core and the basics, and we prime what am I trying to say? I prep their interest or whatever. I just prime the pump, so to speak, right? Peak, that's the word I was looking for. I knew it was a peak, right? I piqued their interest. And so that's kind of what I've been doing.
Thank you.
I think you kind of hit it on the head a little bit there too, Stan. When you talk about people being afraid they're going to go into a presentation to be sold to, nobody likes to be sold to. And I think if we approach that meeting a little differently, in that, being a criminal investigator, that was my past. I use some of those skills to be able to find out how I can help someone. It's not about what I think I can solve some of their problems. It's about getting them to tell me what their problems are to see if I can solve some of those issues. If I can solve some of those problems and my product will do that, then I may have a potential for a sale. But if I don't, if some of their problems don't mesh with what I'm offering, then, really you just say, well, let me see if I can find somebody that can help you with some of those issues. Because really that's what we're in. We're all in this for one thing, and that's to help businesses in whatever way we can get better at what they do. And if our product doesn't serve them, it doesn't do any good to try to sell them that product if we're not solving a problem for them.
You just touched on a big thing that literally I was just thinking about this today, and that is, how can I make it the priority to give more next year, not sell more, but how can I give more and just let, and then allow me to receive whatever it is that's coming back to me, right? Set my goals and whatnot, but how can I give more?
So I think, Stan, the key to that is, in the past, it sounds like you see how and I do the same thing. You see how it can help the business because you're an outsider looking in, and outsiders looking into a problem can always see solutions that aren't necessarily right in front of the other person's face. So I truly believe the key to that is coming up with a list of questions and maybe even sending them the questions prior to the meeting. So kind of a pre-interview or if you do me a favor and fill out this questionnaire before we meet, it will help me to serve you better. Because now you've gotten what their goals are and what their stressors are, pain points are. And if you aren't the solution, now you've had time to go find the answer to their problem. And even if Mailbox Power isn't it, and you give them somebody else, guess what? They're going to start sending everybody your way.
Yep.
It's sort of like, what was the movie we were just watching? The Christmas movie where they were referring, it's a toy store that was referring to other toy stores when they knew that they had the product
Miracle on 34th Street.
Miracle on 34th Street. And it was like, that's a brilliant marketing tactic.
I love that movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's what we've got to get better at.
The only thing just speaking for me personally, I would never send somebody a list of questions to answer before a meeting. I think part of that meeting is to build that rapport. So if you're able to just ask questions in a conversation that you're having with them, I think it starts to build that rapport. It turns possibly a cold prospect into a warm prospect, because what you're seeing as is being genuinely interested in what they are having issues with, and you trying to help them, even if it's not your product. If you can help someone, refer someone to someone else, can help them with their problems that they need to solve or issues, it goes a long way toward giving you credibility about what you're doing as well.
Yep.
Stan, what video are you putting in there to send them to which one are you showing on your YouTube?
No, I make my own.
Now, I know you make your own, but then where are they going after they see your YouTube?
Oh, so in my YouTube description, I will always have links for where I
What
want
link
to
are you
send
showing them? What link are you sending them to?
I build a landing page. I build my own custom landing pages.
Oh, you're so smart. Okay.
So because I want to capture their information before I send them on to Mailbox Power.
Gotcha.
Or
Okay.
wherever I want to send them. I want to capture their information first, because they may get to Mailbox Power and not sign up. So I want to have that ability that now I'm staying in touch with them with email and with text messaging, so that we then, or a phone call, that we then have I have a dialogue with them.
Okay.
So I build a bridge, it's called a bridge page. And so I build a bridge page to send them to, so that they hit it first, then they hit Mailbox Power.
maybe I can find somebody to do that for me.
Well,
There's,
talk to me. I can help you.
Yeah. I was
So,
like, there's lots of people out there that can probably help you, Anne. And I think you even have shuffle, don't you, Anne? No, never mind. She's looking at me with blank.
like,
I was
confused,
thinking
right?
she
Like,
had it.
what the heck is shuffle?
Yeah.
Right.
Anybody else? I know Erica is the queen of sales and training. But I know this is her first call, so I'm not sure if she's willing to share, but anybody want to share where they are or where they want to be?
I just wanted to share one thing. I think that everyone has a different personality, right? And you have to do what's best for your personality, right? I am the queen in unpushy sales. And I always send a survey before I talk to somebody because I need them to tell me what the problem is so that I can solve it. I say, like, I'm like Vanilla Ice, if you got a problem, I'll solve it. But I need to know in advance, and that works for me. Some people want to have the chat first, build the rapport, and do all that. It doesn't work for me that way because I become very stressed out and uncomfortable and sweaty because I'm afraid that I'll come across as pushy. So this is what works for me. Just find what works for you, but you won't know, right? Unless you try it out. So maybe, like Brenda said, those numbers, take those numbers and decide what you're going to do each day and try something for 30 days, right? And then look back and see. But I just love the product. So
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing, Erica. And I do think I started doing a questionnaire for my Military Mondays interviews because I was starting to do pre-interviews and taking a lot of time to get to know somebody, that it was simple questions I needed to know up front to make sure before I even had the pre-interview with them to make sure they were a good fit for my show. And that's why I say maybe just a few, not a huge long questionnaire, but a few basic questions ahead of time, like what are their goals? If their goals aren't to grow their business, then we might not be the best fit for them. And there might be somebody else that you want to plug them into. So I think of it as a way, I haven't done it yet. So that was just an idea I threw out there, but it's a way to maybe save not just us some time, but the prospective client some time also, and not waste time if this isn't the right fit for them. Some basic questions might lead to knowing ahead of time whether it makes sense to have the meeting. Suzanne.
Hi there. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's and all that kind of good stuff. Hey, I watched your event from last week, the last Tuesday, when she showed you the new tool in Canva.
Yes.
And, oh my lands, have I had fun with that. But I have to say, when you ask, when he was talking about, or you were talking about coming up with a list of questions, I thought, what the heck? I'm going to ask Canva. And let me tell you, they have some good questions.
Yep.
I put in there a list of questions to find out about a company's marketing plan. And it says, what is your current marketing strategy? How do you measure the success of your marketing campaigns? What platforms do you use for marketing? What are your target audiences? What's your budget? I'm thinking, I don't know who in Canva put this together, but it is fantastic.
Would you share those results in the chat?
Yeah, I'll
Just
see if I
copy
can
and paste.
copy and paste it.
Because that would be awesome. It would be a good start for people if they want to use that. If they don't, then you don't have to use it, because everybody, like Erica said, everybody has a different personality and is going to approach it differently. There's room at the table for everyone. We're just trying to give lots of ideas of how to build, because our ultimate goal is that all of you get to whatever it is that you want to get to next year, whether that's double, triple, quadruple. What's 10 times? what would 10 times be? I don't know, because that's kind of where Stan is, I think, or more. But yeah, we want to see all of you succeed. Marie.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm just copying what Suzanne put in there. I just want to share a couple of things and somewhat address Gloria's question. Some time ago, Casey said something that really was a big aha for me, and that is, he wasn't focused on the monies made from the subscriptions. He's focused on big companies that are using the system, and he's getting that commission off of the cards and gifts that they're sending out. So with that in mind, I'm done with having the Zoom one-to-one Zooms with network people I meet with networking. That's the way I've grown to where I am today, and I'm done with that. I want companies. I want the big companies. I want companies that have, well, this isn't even big, but 10 million in revenue as an absolute minimum. I want a company that has someone in a position who is in charge of acquiring talent and retaining talent. That is my focus. And they have multiple locations, because if they have multiple locations, they've really got to do something to have some cohesiveness amongst those employees. I'm going to share a quick story. I'm going to make it quick. That just happened to me. The bigger companies that I have came to me from referrals. So I have a business coach who's become a personal friend, who referred me to someone who was looking for some kind of system. She didn't even know what she was looking for. Her son is a NASCAR driver, and she's in charge of the company, and she really needs sponsorships. So what she is using Mailbox Power for is to read articles in the journal, the business journal in the city where she's located. When she sees an article about a company that could be a good sponsor for her, she sends a card congratulating them for making the journal, for being in the journal. So what happened just last Monday is she sent a card to someone congratulating the CEO for being in the business journal. And it just said, congratulations on the front, with his name on the front of the card. And he connected with her on LinkedIn and said, thank you very much for the card. I really appreciate it. Tell me, how did you get that card created? And she said, let me introduce you to the woman who introduced me to this platform. And so she introduced us via email. And what I did when I got that email, introduced me to that CEO, when I got that email, I went to his website. And from that website, I learned that he has multiple locations. I learned a lot about him. He is really he has a wall in his building. And actually, I didn't learn that at that point. So I learned a lot about the product that they're selling, and they're after trucking companies. Okay, so it's blue collar. And so I sent him an email and said, I'm really impressed with what I learned from your website. And I have a tool that I really think we should talk about, because my guess is you've got a very targeted list of companies you're wanting to get into, and I know how to get your foot in the door. Nice. And so I waited for 2 days and didn't hear back. And I thought, you know what? More and more, my emails from people I correspond with regularly are going to junk mail, because, security's gotten so tight, they're just not letting anything in. He might not see my email. So I said, I'm going to send him something through Mailbox Power. But first I called this customer who introduced us, and I said, tell me, what did you send to him? Because he was pretty impressed. She said, Marie, all I did was send him a card that said congratulations with his name on the front. She says, I can't wait to send him a picture of a NASCAR with his logo on the hood of that car. He will really be impressed. So I said, all you sent was a card? And she said, that's it. So, okay. So now I go to his Facebook page and his LinkedIn page. Now I'm really learning about him. He is so good about appreciating, thanking, recognizing, celebrating his employees. He has this wall in his building that, see if I can find it real quick, that has all of these phrases on it. One of them is think big or go home. Another is teamwork and integrity, embrace the grind, never limit your potential. So, I mean, he's like my kind of guy. So I created a card with on the front of it in his colors, blue and green, that said, think big or go home. That's all it said on the front. Inside left, it had the phrases that I could see on his wall. And at the top of it, I put, I love your wall of wisdom. And then my message said, I sent you an email when Lauren first introduced us, because I was so impressed with your website. I said, now that I've seen your LinkedIn page and your Facebook page, I am more impressed with you and how you are thanking, appreciating, celebrating, and recognizing your employees. I said, leaders like you make my heart smile. I have some ideas that I think the kind of person you are would really appreciate hearing about. If you're open to a chat, I'd love to talk. And that's basically all I said. And so I put a mug in there, and I'd already created this mug for another CEO a couple of years ago. And it was Yoda with the quote, there is no try, only do, whatever that quote is. And then the other side of the mug was his photo, CEO with his company, and a 2-pack of brownies. And while I was on the phone with Ann today, I got an email from him, and it says, hey there, Marie, I got your package, whole bunch of exclamation points. I'm absolutely in love with this approach. The whole personalization makes all the difference in the world. Let's hop on a call. And he says, I'm CCing my HR marketing lead. And anyway, long story short, I've been in touch with him. We have a Zoom scheduled for tomorrow at 11:30. Not only does he have his marketing person, but he has his sales manager on the call as well. So the point to sharing all of this is we can learn, if you know the kind of company you are targeting, look at their web page, look at their LinkedIn profile or LinkedIn page, look at their Facebook page. And if you see things on it that you think are a match, send them something. Blow their minds with a package. They will contact you and take it from there.
Awesome. Congratulations. Woo! We're excited to hear next. We're excited to hear next week, because just what you've said so far, I can't imagine that they're not going to become a client. So it just seems like it fits so well with his philosophy and his business strategy that it's a no-brainer. So I look forward to hearing next Tuesday that you have a new executive member.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that, Marie. That was an amazing story. I really appreciated that. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Dan. You're welcome. And Gloria, I hope that was helpful for you, trying to figure out how you're going to approach things. I've done the networking thing for a long time, and I love meeting people. But the reality is the kind of business I want to go after, I'm not meeting at networking events. I'm not being connected to from people I meet at networking events. I just think for me, it's much better to target specific companies and go after them. So,
and I would say the same thing as Marie. I've been very much like Marie. We have built our business not from cold. We've done very little marketing of Mailbox Power using the list builder. We've done a little. haven't gotten a lot of business out of it. The majority of business that we have created in Mailbox Power has been people that we knew, warm leads, people in our network, and it's generally from networking. And we are also, I am looking at, sort of like Marie did this past year, I'm looking at the networking I'm doing and what leads are coming from it or what referrals, and trying to decide where we're going to invest our time, because we also want to be more like Marie and looking for the bigger companies that may or may not be attending those type of events, those type of networking events. So
I think what's important too is Marie was able to identify the company, how much income or how much revenue they were producing. She was able to create an avatar for her perfect client. So I think, we all probably need to follow the same model as trying to determine who we want to serve and how we can serve them. Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, well, one more thing. He has right now approximately 200 employees. I think it was 100 on at the corporate headquarters, and then the rest are elsewhere.
Remote.
So that's exactly what I'm looking for. And he wants to grow to 500 employees by the end of 2025. So he's looking for talent. And one of the things that so impressed me on their website is, these are the positions we currently have available. If you don't see a perfect match for you, call us anyway. We'd like to talk with you. Who knows? We might be able to create something just for you.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
I could tell he's a possibility person,
Yep. Yeah, no, I love that. I can't wait to hear the success story there, Marie.
Thank you.
I'm putting it out in the universe. It's just going to happen.
I love that. Thanks for doing that.
Yep, no worries. We're coming to the top of the hour. Anybody else want to share or let us know where you're at or success stories you have had, like Marie recently? I'm reading a chat, sorry.
I'll just say while you're doing this, while you're reading whatnot for Marie, just think of it as it's already done. That's what it sounds like. It's already done.
Oh, yeah. So Andrea was saying, don't forget to specifically ask for that company in your weekly presentation. So if you're in a BNI or you're in a PepNet or a Brain or wherever you are, a chamber, and there's a weekly or a monthly meeting, if you have a chance to give your, what they call an elevator pitch or your commercial, make sure you ask. So if you're doing that research like Marie did and you know a company that you want to connect with, if you specifically ask to be connected, you'd be surprised, because 7 degrees of separation, how somebody in the group is probably connected to that person or connected to somebody who is very connected to that person. So great reminder. Thank you, Andrea, for mentioning that in the chat.
Dr. Meisner actually gave a story one time about a member who did not know what his father-in-law did until they were in a conversation years into the marriage. And he said, oh my God, I didn't know what you did. I have a referral for you.
Yep. Yep. Great. Great reminder. Well, with that, if nobody else has anything that they want to add today, we just want to say thank you for showing up. We appreciate the time you've given us. You've given us about an hour of your time tonight, and time is a precious commodity that you can't get back. And we hope this is valuable and that you take something away from this call and implement it. And then we want to hear your success stories. We want to hear how you took something from somebody, learned from somebody on this call, and it made a difference in your life or in your business. So that's what this call is all about, is a rising tide lifts all ships. And we want to see that rising tide and how it's lifting all of your businesses. So we will see you in the brand new year, 2023, believe it or not. And excited to see where your business goes in 2023. Please take this week to reflect on where you are, what you've done in your business so far, whether it be this year or the past couple of years, and look at where you want to be next year, because that will help us to do training to get you to where you want to be. Because if you don't know where you want to go, it's really hard to get there. So with that, I hope you all have an awesome week.
Happy New Year and see you next
New
year.
Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you both so much.
You're
Thank you.
All
welcome.
of you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.